Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Blooming Lotus Healing channel. My name is Jikara, and I'm a spiritual healing facilitator. And we come live every Thursday here to talk about all the woo stuff. And I'm bringing in different practitioners to talk about their beautiful knowledge and share their amazing energy here. We're weaving this beautiful community here. So I'm super excited. Thank you, everyone who is watching here this now, live or on the replay. So, I kind of wanted to drop into the essence of gratitude because you know what? I have so many of you who are supporting this channel, and I kind of want to take a moment to support those who are part of the Cosmic Light Activation Group. So I'm going to put your names here just to kind of celebrate you. Woohoo! Thank you so much for supporting. Of course, you're receiving a lot of stuff, a lot of goodies as part of the group, but you are also supporting this beautiful space that has been just being created so far in such a organic way, and I'm so excited that you're part of this. And so for those of you who want to sign up for the Cosmic Light Activation membership, I just kind of wanted to tell you a little bit about what you get. So for example, yesterday we did a clearing. So we do an Akashic clearing for the community, for the collective, every month. So around the new moon, I like to do it around the new moon. And then we also have a private Telegram group where you get to receive a guidance oracle for the collective, oracle guidance for the collective. And then you also get priority whenever I do my lives on Instagram and I'm doing readings on Instagram. So, it's just kind of like, a little bit of perks here and there, but then also, you're supporting this. So if you are someone who's been kind of like, I want to support Jakara in this channel, and I want to figure out how I can be part of this and get closer, then you definitely want to make sure that you go into my website, thebloominglotushealing.com, and sign up for my email list. I only send this to my email list, so you want to make sure that you go there and sign up, so that way you know when is coming next. Actually, I am opening the doors coming up the end of this month, so you want to make sure that you sign up for my email list. All you have to do is just go to my website, scroll all the way down, and then you'll have the email sign up thing. So anyway, enough about that. Share and like this video, please. And if you haven't subscribed yet, which I doubt that you haven't yet, but I'm gonna say that, if you haven't, please do subscribe, so that way you know when I go live again next. And of course, y'all know that my Jazz is here. Every time he hears me talk, y'all, he is here. He's gonna be, basically present in all of the lives. So get used to him. So anyway, enough about me and Jazz and all this stuff. I just kind of want to bring in and weave in my beautiful sister goddess that is coming in to share so much knowledge about human design, Sunlight Oracle. So I'm gonna bring her in. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having
Hi.
me.
I'm so excited to have you. I've been like wanting this moment to happen. I've been counting the days. I was telling you before we came live, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Sunny is coming. And I just love your energy. I love the way that you connect to human design, and the way that when we talked before, when I was inviting you over, it's just so beautiful, the way that you just really just drop into the embodiment of it, right? And like you really focus on that a lot, and I thought that was really cool and so important, because the knowledge is great, but I love the fact that you really kind of encourage that embodiment part, which is really great.
Totally.
And
Thanks for
so
having me.
yes, absolutely. And so I kind of wanted, of course, this is your first time here. So, a lot of the audience may not know who you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself,
Sure.
and how do you get started in human design?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, super excited to be here. Thanks again for having me. I am a human design projector, which we'll get into in the presentation, but anytime I'm recognized and invited to share wisdom and knowledge about human design or mediumship or all of these systems I love, it really just excites me. So I want to say thanks again for having me.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Thank you.
yeah, so my name is Sunny, also known as Sunlight Oracle, kind of a persona there that I also use for my business and my psychic and mediumship gifts. So I'm a psychic medium. I am based here in Los Angeles, but also available on the internet. And human design is a system that actually entered my life for the first time in 2018. I was trying to reflect on this before I got on this call, because time is very a very interesting part, I think, of everyone's human design journey, the timing in which it enters your life, and the timing in which it unfolds and you begin to understand the system itself. So when I was first introduced to it in 2018, it would have been March of 2018. I remember I pretty much just looked at the surface level of the system and looked up my friends, like what kind are you or what type are you? And then for a couple of years, it really lay dormant. I knew what it was, I understood the basics, but to be honest, I don't think my consciousness was at a point to fully take in and absorb and understand the ins and outs of the system. So really just in the last 2 years or so now, since I've really accepted and set foot on my own spiritual path as a human being, has human design come in and really helped me understand myself and also understand the people in my life whom I love, and the system at its best helps us understand, promotes tolerance and patience with people who are different from ourselves. Because often do we expect people to be just like us, whether on a conscious or subconscious level. And human design really offers practical tools for experimenting with the idea that maybe we're not all the same. Maybe we're actually all very different. So that is a little bit about me. Again, it's kind of like my career feels a little bit two-pronged. I do work as a psychic medium, but human design has offered me a lot of tools and understanding in how to be my authentic self. And I just love to share that wisdom, knowledge, and system with anyone who wants to know. So that's why I'm super excited to be here, because I feel like you guys want to know about it.
Yes. And, I love what you said about, I'm right now, my mind is being blown because you said something that is so, like, right now I've been experiencing this lack of patience with certain people in my life. And I love that you said about the human design. I never thought about using human design as a way to understand people. I always thought about understanding myself, but it makes so much sense. Like, it brings us into that place of compassion and saying, oh, this is how they're designed, right? And so then we kind of like understand and have more patience with people. Now I know that I have to run and figure out a way to get my mother-in-law's human design.
yes, that's
Seriously.
that is honestly, like, sometimes when I'm meeting with people for the first time for a human design reading or a human design session, we get into the basics of it, and their first thought is, well, what is my partner, or what is my mom, or what is my dad? Like, I need to know these very basics about aura mechanics, and it will change the fluidity of your relationship with said people if you can bring yourself to see them through the lens of human design. And I'm not saying that human design is like this end all be all. I want to be clear. It's just tools and lenses and perspectives to consider in how your energy interacts with others. That's you know what I'm saying? It's like, here's some tools, try them out. Let me know if they work for you. If they don't work for you, drop it. But I've had a lot of luck in using these tools, and that's why I go around talking about it all the time.
Yeah, it's incredible. And we're so lucky to have you to talk about this because, I've been excited about it. I'm not, I know, I mean, human design in itself, it's kind of like this big monster of a project. If you want to learn it, fully, right?
Totally.
It's kind of like learning astrology and depths, like if you really want to go into the depths of this. And then I just kind of wanted to mention to all of y'all who watching this, we're gonna like tap into a very like, Sunny and I, we talked about this before when I reached out to her, or we reached out to each other. I can't remember how. Oh, she was recommended by Dawn. And so, we decided to talk, and she was mentioning how it's like, listen, this is a big concept, so we both agree that we wanted just to share, something that will give you a little bit of a taste of it, and so that you can understand. And so I posted on the comments here the link to for you to get your human design chart. So if you want to, while we're here on the live, go in and check it out. All you have to do, you have to basically just know where you were born, the time and date, and then basically that will get you your human design chart. And so I believe if they don't have their date, is that still okay? Or
The date or the time, do you mean?
I'm
Or
sorry, not the date, the time. Sorry, I
yeah,
apologize.
I'll be clear about this. A lot of human design practitioners have different opinions on that. My opinion personally is that you all being here, I already know that you're intuitive people. Like that is like what has brought you to Jikara and what's made you interested in all of this work. Use your intuition, okay? If you don't know what your birth time is, trust yourself, tap in. I understand that different parts of the world document birth differently, and I don't think that should be a barrier of entry to human design. So take your best guess using your intuitive knowledge. I am of that school of thought.
Wow, that's powerful.
So
I love
just to be
that.
clear.
Yes, Sunny, you are in the same wavelength as I am. I love it. You are all
Yay.
about empowering people, and yes, like this is about empowerment, and yeah, I love that. Okay, so I definitely want to make sure that y'all get that, because Sunny prepared a beautiful presentation for us where she's gonna be basically diving into the basics of human design. So at least you have an idea of what the heck we're talking about. Like, what is this human design thing, right? And so then y'all can like at least get a little bit of that. And if, of course, if y'all want to dive deeper with her, in the future, maybe you want a reading from her. She's also an intuitive medium, and she does some amazing work with. She draws people from the other side as well. You can go into her Instagram and check that out, which is incredible. You can go into this to her sunlight.oracle and follow her, and maybe reach out to her if you want to work with her a little deeper. But for now, we're just gonna dive a little deep into it. So do you want me to share the
Yes, please.
presentation?
That'd be great.
Okay. All right. So
Thank you.
we have a presentation here. So just okay, there we go.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Okay. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to just ask, because I can really get going and get deep into it, but feel free to pull me out whenever you need to. Okay.
Of
So
course.
all right, my friends. So it's imperative, I would say, that if you're going to get something out of this presentation today, that you at least know what your human design aura type is. And you're going to get your chart. And I know some of you already have it. Some of you already have this knowledge and probably more knowledge. But when you get this, try not to get absorbed by all of the information that's coming out. Okay. Look just at the type. It will be the first thing that's listed on your chart. And I'll get into that in a moment. I just want to give kind of like a forewarning, I guess, that this system, as Jikara mentioned, is very dense. It can be very overwhelming. And so today we're just going to take the first piece, and you'll see how deep even just the first piece of it is. And hopefully that will inspire some of you to go seek out more information about it. Or yeah, I'm available and love talking about this stuff. So you know where to find me. All right. Let me see here. Oh, okay. One moment, friends. Okay, so really basic. We've kind of started talking about it, but let's just bring it down to the basics. What is human design? I kind of talked about this, about human design is a system of human differentiation. It argues really that we are all unique human beings, and we all have the right to live out our uniqueness to the fullest potential. Okay, so while some schools of thought may say that we are all one, human design doesn't say that that's not true. It just says that within the one, the one that we are, there's harmony among different types, right? Different types bring harmony to the world. We can't all just be the same, or else there would be no harmony. That is, in essence, how I see human design. Okay. So your design, which you have likely pulled up your chart by now, it's wholly unique to you. It is yours. There's so many determining factors in that chart that it speaks to your uniqueness. And like an astrology chart, which astrology you can see is very much a part of human design, or an influence on the human design system, is determined by the time and place and date that you were born. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is the 4 different aura types that comprise humanity. Okay. And again, the four different types all working together are what create this sort of harmony on Earth. And I'll harp on this one more time because it's my favorite part of human design, is that at its best, it will and can create tolerance for one another and promote harmony among all. Okay. So what makes it different from other systems? If you're here, you are likely, you study something, you like something, you know, you are drawn to some system that lights you up. And the thing about human design is that it actually synthesizes several different systems. There are so many different influences. Again, you can see an astrological influence here on the body graph, or I'm sorry, on these data points. You can also see this body graph here sort of looks like the chakra system for those of you who are familiar with chakras. It's also influenced by the Chinese I Ching, the Kabbalah, and several other holistic self-knowledge systems. It synthesizes all of this into one. Okay, so you can see where it's like, oh wow, it's getting dense already. Don't fret. We're going to pull back. I just want you all to have the big picture. So what makes it different, I think, from astrology specifically and several other systems is here in human design, you can see that there are two sets of data. You have these black numbers over here, and you have red numbers over here. Okay. The red numbers, the design numbers, were determined 3 months before you were born. That's your design. Okay.
Wow.
Now, these black numbers over here, the personality data set, that is more similar to what would be your traditional birth chart in astrology, which is that this is when you were born, your birth date, the time, this is where the planets were, these were the gates that were activated at that time. But both sets of data are what comprise you as a human being, okay? Not just one, we have two. One is 3 months before you were born. The other is when you were born. And how do these sets of data interact with each other and with others, right? So one of the biggest questions I get when someone enters my space for a human design reading is, first of all, like, what's up with the red and the black? So I just wanted to address that. That is what's going on. Two sets of data. One way to look at it, my friends, and this might make sense now, it might make sense later, is that the red numbers, the way I see it, is they represent more of our subconscious mind, the things we aren't always aware of in our in existence. Whereas the black numbers, the personality, is something that represents the conscious mind, things we do know about ourselves or have come to understand about ourselves through our life experiences. So this is not necessarily what we're going to dive into today, but again, I think it's a necessary part of the framework for just understanding what is human design and why is it different from anything else, right? We're dealing with two data sets. Okay.
And I wanted to say something too. When you were talking about the red and the black, for whatever reason, and I don't know. I just felt that for whatever reason, the information from the red, it feels like it's more from the soul.
Yeah.
And the information from the black, it feels like it's more from the ego, because the ego is not a bad thing.
Not at all.
The ego is part of, it's part of what we're, it's the archetype, right, that we're meant to embody here on this planet. And so I don't know, I just kind of felt like, is the relationship between the soul and the ego, like, I don't know.
No, totally
really profound when you were saying that, especially because the one on the red is 3 months before we're born. I just, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And personally, I like what you're saying. I'm a big, it's very Jungian what you're saying. I'm a big fan of Carl Jung. So I'm resonating with what you're saying. And I just want to say that, like, as a human design, I guess I'm a reader. I don't know exactly what my role is in human design at this point. I do readings for people. And I find the most telling information or life-altering information to exist in the red numbers. That's kind of where I'm like, let's go there, because especially when I meet with people who are already very self-aware, it's like I'm telling them things that they're like, oh yeah, I know, like I know that. So the red is where it's like, okay, well, have you considered this other thing? But Yeah, so that's the difference between the red and the black. We could see soul, ego, subconscious and conscious, design and personality. However you want to look at it, everybody's design is different. Everyone will understand this differently. So
Right. Yeah.
love that. But now we're going to get into like what I feel is my biggest contribution to this live stream today, which is to leave listeners, viewers with a pretty solid understanding of your aura type, of your human design type, and what it means and how you can begin to experiment immediately. And I want to say something about that before I get into this, which is, again, human design, I see it as an experiment. You acquire new knowledge and information about yourself or about the human design system, and it's up to you as to how much you want to experiment with those ideas, with those concepts. So I like it because I'm a very experimental person by nature, and take what resonates from this and leave what doesn't. Okay, just if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. So the 4 human design types that I want to talk about today. Hope you all at this point know which one you are or have received your birth chart or your human design chart. We have manifestors, generators, projectors, and reflectors. And you can see here it's generator / MG. You also might be a manifesting generator, okay? You are still the same aura type as a generator, so I'm going to kind of lump you together a little bit today, even though there are some differences that we'll get into in the future. So I also have sort of the data of like estimates of how many people or how much of the population is each type. So manifestors, if you are a manifestor, you are one of the 8 to 9%. Generators, you are about 30%. Manifesting generators, 37%. Projectors make up about 20% of the population. And then reflectors, which oddly enough comprise most of my client base, are only 1 to 2% of the population. So the rarest type. And we will get into why that is and what everyone's role sort of is in the collective, according to human design. Okay, so we're going to start with the manifestor. So shout out to manifestors. I love all the types. I get excited talking about all of them. Oh, first, for all intents and purposes, what is an aura? I don't think I have to tell many of your viewers today or your audience, but just in case, the human design system operates under the idea that we are all more than our physical bodies. So there's information, thoughts, feelings, vibes, if you will, that emit from our physical that serve a role or a purpose in how we exchange and communicate with others. So I just like to always let people know that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the aura. Yeah, we have a subtle, energetic, or spiritual body in some cases. Okay, so now let's talk about our manifestor friends, manifestors. So as I go through each type, what I hope you glean is the mechanics of your aura type, how your aura interacts with others, and also what in human design we call a strategy. It's kind of like a compass, something to consider when you feel out of alignment or you feel like you might be going living inauthentically. What is the strategy for coming back to yourself? Okay, every type is going to receive strategy and aura mechanics today. Manifestors, my friends, I made these paintings. I'm an artist and I like to use visual elements to sort of communicate abstract concepts. And so for me, this painting is sort of a visual depiction of how I see the manifestor aura. Okay, so don't be disheartened by some of this language in human design. Okay, I'm going to do my best to sort of empower you with it, but you can see that for manifestors, the 2 sort of adjectives for the aura mechanics are closed and repelling. And at first you might hear that and say like, oh no, like I'm not an unfriendly person. Like I'm not like repelling people. But here's the thing about the manifestor aura, my friends, is that manifestors have the ability, according to human design, to channel divinity itself through your own being. And so as a result, you do have a closed and repelling aura to protect yourself, to protect that divinity so that it can sort of become and grow and evolve into what it is you're supposed to tell us to do with it. So it doesn't mean that you're off-putting. It doesn't mean that nobody wants to be around you. It means that you have a naturally protective aura because you have a very important role here in the collective, which is to channel divinity for the rest of us. Very exciting stuff, very powerful stuff. So here's the thing with being a manifester. I want to tell you that the human design system grants you permission to not have to wait for outside confirmation to begin something. You are the fire starters of the collective because you are the ones channeling this divinity. You have the obligation really to sort of tell us what it is that you are channeling, what it is that you know, what it is that you have come to realize. We are all waiting to hear it. Okay. You don't need outside confirmation. You don't need to be invited. You don't need someone to open the door for you. You open the door for the rest of us. Fire starter. So your strategy when you're wondering, how do I best practice being my manifestor self, is to inform others of what it is that you see, do, feel, or plan. And because your aura is closed and repelling, you might feel like sometimes people are a little bit rigid around you or are a little bit put off, and they don't know why. This is all happening on a very subtle energetic body or an energetic wavelength. And the way that you can kind of alleviate that tension or friction is to just inform us what you are thinking. Because you're closed and we can't see in, you tell us. You understand? So I often work with parent and child relationships. I have people come to me and their son is a manifestor and they are a different type. And what I often find is that the manifestor is having a hard time expressing and telling them what it is they're thinking, seeing, feeling, and doing, because it's just not their nature. But you can improve your relationships, your communications by learning how to inform others of those things, even when you don't think anyone cares. Okay, very important. Yep. So again, informing people as to what you are doing or where you're going next is also creating a boundary for you to protect that divinity, to protect your authentic self, and it will improve your relationships, your creative flow tenfold. Informing for my manifestor friends.
I'm curious to know, for those of you who are watching, is any manifestor present here? And then if you do have questions, as Sunny is sharing, please feel free to share your questions here if you're now live, or even on the replay. If you're on the replay, that's okay. You can share your questions and I can always share that with Sunny, or maybe you can reach out to her directly. But if you are now live and you're a manifestor and maybe you have some inkling that you're like, okay, I want to know a little bit more about this, then definitely do ask. So okay, so you're a manifestor. Okay, do you have any questions so far for Sunny in regards to what she's mentioned, and maybe in how it's sitting in your body, how it's sitting with you in your mind, in your essence, in your field? How is this all like feeling for you? And but in the meantime, as you ask your question, I just kind of wanted to say, Sunny, you're giving me such a perspective, because I didn't even realize that the aura was closed. So for manifestors, I don't really have many manifestors in my life that
Dawn is a manifestor, actually.
She's a manifestor?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, okay. So oh wow. Okay, so then there we go. But see, but I don't feel, I guess because she does share with me, so I guess I don't feel that energy. But
she's
yeah,
informing.
I guess I could see that. I could see how it would be a thing. But yeah, this is really opening my heart and my mind so much into understanding, especially if I do have a manifestor in my life, on how to maybe encourage that sharing as well.
Yes. So that's the thing with manifestors, is there's so much power in the natural mechanics of informing, right? Fire starting, getting things going. Everything begins with a manifestor. And what often happens with human design, and is that you're getting at really the heart of it, is that all of us are born with a design, but over time have received so much conditioning from our caregivers, friends, family, schooling, whatever it is, that you have likely fallen. Most people that I work with have fallen very far away from what their authentic human design type is trying to express. And so with manifestors, what I often find, especially in manifestors who identify as women, is that that power has almost been conditioned out in this case, in this society, like patriarchy, right? Where informing, saying, starting things is not actually how women have been conditioned to operate in the collective. And so they're very far out of alignment and have actually fallen more into people pleasing, or into being more submissive, or people pleasing is the main kind of ailment for the out of alignment manifestor. They have this power within, it's never left, but they find coping mechanisms, maladaptive coping mechanisms, to still express that desire to inform. And it often looks like people pleasing, or, which falls into the category of kind of like micro manipulation. And so what we want to do is bring the manifestors back to the natural, authentic expression of, no, you're here to tell us, like, you're here to tell us exactly what you're thinking and inspire us toward action, the rest of us in our own roles. So it's a tall order. You can see there are only 8 or 9% of the population that are manifestors. So if we had more than that, perhaps there would be even more power struggles than there already are. That's my personal insight on that. It's not like human design 101, but does that sort of answer your question or speak to what you were speaking to?
Yeah, so C is actually asking,
Oh, good.
how do we better communicate?
So very like intense question, just because I would love to see your chart C in the future, because I can give you a more tailored to you response, of course, because of all the other information there. But here's the thing is, like, I can use some examples from past clients that I've worked with, which is when you are holding in, when you think that no one really cares what it is that you're thinking or what you're doing, begin to practice informing verbally. I suggest verbally informing others, even when you are convinced they don't care. So like I worked with a kid one time with his mom, and the little things we worked on was just like, he had a lot of power, little manifester. And I got him to practice, start telling her like, hey mom, I'm going to go get a snack from the refrigerator. Like we start very small with our little micro interactions throughout the day, and see and trust the waves that those like verbal communications will make. And so, I would love to know more about your situation in particular and who you're having a hard time communicating with. But I just want to encourage you to practice, despite having the closed and repelling aura, opening it up a little bit and just letting people know, hey, I'm actually working on this, or hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store real quick. Like little things is where I would start with you.
That's powerful. So hopefully, see, that helps you. But remember that you also have the option to maybe dive a little deeper with Sunny, on a one-on-one session with her.
Because it's so complicated. I mean, y'all see how much information is in those
Yes.
charts. Like we could go for days, but that's what I would just suggest intuitively that you start doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right. We're almost done with the manifestors. Okay. One thing a concept that's central to how I understand human design, and I think everyone understands human design, is that manifestors, projectors, and reflectors listen up, because those 3 types are known as non-sacral beings. Okay. Generators and manifesting generators, y'all are sacral beings, and we'll talk about you in 1 second. But with the non-sacral, this is the sacral center here, my friends. It's the second up from the bottom. Okay. It's kind of like where your sacral chakra would be if you're familiar with the chakra system. Oh, sorry. Sorry, everyone. Okay. When that center is white or not colored in, which don't worry too much about that. That's a whole other concept we could discuss in the future. But when it's open or when it's white, Non-sacral beings do not have access to sacral energy, which is the energy that is required to go, do, buzz, get stuff done, build the world, all the lovely things that our generator and manifesting generator friends do. If you are a non-sacral being, it's important that those three types, manifestor, projector, and reflector, learn more than any other type how to prioritize rest and make sure that you are not trying to keep up with people who naturally have that energy to go, do, build, make the world. And manifestors, I just want to throw that out there to you. You require significant periods of rest. Projectors as well, reflectors as well. It's all different. But manifestors, if you find yourself like needing a fat break, like truly you're like, this, no one even understands how much I need a break. I need 3 months off. That's very much like in alignment with being a manifestor. So I just want to throw that out there for all non-sacral beings. Learning how your relationship with rest is a huge part of the deconditioning process for the human design system. So big notes there. What else do we have here? I'm going to skip this in the name of efficiency here. But we're going to start talking about our friends, the generators and the manifesting generators. Okay, so together, you all have the same aura mechanics. Jikara, our friend here, is a generator, a beautiful example of one. Generators and manifesting generators, again, there are nuanced differences. You can see 30% generator, 37% manifesting generator. But for all intents and purposes, your aura and its mechanics and how it looks and what it's like are the same. Okay, so here's my interpretation of the generator aura. Okay, and I'll explain the drawing a little bit. Y'all are warm, magnetic, enveloping. Things come to you. Things come to you. And when you are doing what you love, what you're good at, like Jikara is doing right now by hosting this live stream, for instance, you literally begin to generate more energy, more of that sacral energy we were just talking about, that makes the world go round, that keeps the world spinning, that keeps society functioning. So you all have an obligation as generators and manifesting generators to do what you love. Because when you do what you love, you generate the necessary energy for the world to go on. So how about that? What if I told you, generators and manifesting generators, that you are here to do what you love? That's why you're on Earth. That is what you came here to do according to human design. It's like, how amazing is that? Like, you just do what you love. Like, that's why you're here, you know? So very fun. I even get, you can see I'm like getting energy from whoever is listening to this just by talking about you. But okay, yeah, here to build the world with the sacral energy. And here's a key sort of phrase for the generator, manifesting generator. Find what lights you up. What is it that gets sort of this fan that I've kind of drawn here going, generating? What is it that really brings that energy up through you? And we'll get to that in a moment, yes. Okay, so here is where we get into strategy, where we were talking to our manifestor friends about learning how to inform, to initiate, inform. Generators and manifesting generators, you are here to respond, almost quite literally in, you are operating in a state of response to everyone and everything that comes into your beautiful, warm, magnetic aura, okay? And so I need to say this, it's not on the slide, but it's important that it is so important for generators and manifesting generators to learn what their intuition feels like and what is a full body yes and what is a full body no, because you all will be constantly fielding things to respond to, and you need to learn how to trust what your authentic yes response is and what your authentic no response is. Because if you begin to respond if you begin to respond yes to things that really don't light you up, you don't like to do, you don't love, then you will experience burnout, much like the other types do in different capacities. Like that fan is generating energy when you are being true to yourself and responding to things that light you up and not to things that you think are supposed to light you up. That is the biggest hack to being a generator is knowing what your yes is and knowing what your no is. So generators, here's a nuanced difference between the two. So if you're like, I'm a manifesting generator and I'm a pure generator, how are we different? Generators become masterful at whatever it is they most respond to. And they have this very like penetrating, deep focus when they're doing what they love. It's honestly, if you all sit and watch Jikara week after week do her live show or anything on Instagram, you're experiencing that energy, that deep focus, that ability to carry the collective. That's very generator. Manifesting generators, or MGs, some people call. Now, y'all have like the same sort of sacral energy, right? But you're here to do a lot of different things. You're not necessarily here to deeply focus and master on one task or one skill set. You're here to wear many different hats. You could maybe be really into photography for 3 years, and then all of a sudden you find yourself being really interested in psychology and you want to go back to school for 3. Like, that's normal. MGs are kind of popping all around, but still have this pretty fierce sacral energy to carry them through those tasks. That to me is the biggest difference between the two. But of course, there are others which would be saved for a much deeper sort of examination of these types. Okay. So here's again, I think it, like generators and manifesting generators, being told like through human design, like you're here to do what you love. Another lovely thing to be told is like, you never have to worry about whether or not things are coming your way, right? Like things are coming to you always. What you have to worry about is, again, being discerning, being authentic, and how you respond to those things. It's always coming, but have you been responding incorrectly, or inauthentically to things for so long that you do feel burnt out and you don't feel like this magical generator sacral energy? Things to consider. You've got to learn. And that's where also in the human design chart, in a more in-depth reading, it's like, okay, well, how does my intuition show up? That's all there too. The chart has everything. But again, for this presentation, we're keeping it very basic. Question for you to always return to if you are struggling with the full body yes, full body no thing is, does this light me up or does this drain my energy? If you remember anything generators and manifesting generators from this presentation today, take that question with you. Does this light me up or does this drain my energy? We'll get in. That is okay. We're going to keep going. All right, now we're going to talk about projectors. Now, I'm a projector. I should have said this from the beginning. Just know that this whole presentation has been filtered through the lens of a projector. Fellow projectors, hello. But you can see that the shape of this aura for our projector friends, 20% of the population, is different from the other two. We have sort of this like extension here. It's known, projectors have like a cone-shaped aura here that is known for penetrating, literally that's the old language, penetrating into the auras of other types. Projectors sometimes are known for having X-ray vision, okay? It's like you see someone, especially with generators, but with all types, really, you see someone, you see into their soul, you feel what it's like to be them, deeply empathic, deeply, the other, because projectors are actually here to be guides. And so that sort of knowledge of the other is imperative in how you guide your fellow humans. But that being said, projectors are also, because of this penetrative aura that like goes in and feels around in people, you also can become the most conditioned type. You can lack the most boundaries. You cannot know where you end and the other person begins. So for a lot of projectors, finding out that you're a projector can be life-changing. It's like, this is what's been happening my whole life. But I digress. Here we go. So here's the thing with the projector strategy. Just to review, we have our manifestor friends are here to inform. Generators, MGs, you're here to respond. Projectors, this is where projectors feel a little disempowered sometimes. We're here to wait for the invitation. We're here to wait to be recognized by the other before we offer our knowledge, before we offer our wisdom, because of our aura mechanics, because it is cone shaped, because it is penetrative. It can be off-putting to people. They can say, hey, I didn't ask you to, give me advice. I didn't ask you to speak for 2 hours about human design on the live stream. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. If you can learn, my projector friends, how to learn to wait for the recognition instead of imposing all of your gifts and knowledge and wonderful things about yourself on others, you will witness a serious change in energetic shift in your life and how you interact with other people. So I know at first it can be like, oh, I don't want to wait. And a lot of people try to kind of contest this in a reading, but I'm just offering it as something to experiment with. So wait for the invitation. Again, part of that is to protect others, but also to protect yourself and not absorb energy too deeply from other people that's going to condition you and throw you off of your life's course as well. Okay. Also, projectors, as mentioned earlier, you can see the sacral chakra, my friends. It's white, it's empty. That's precisely what makes you a projector. And you do not make the sacral energy that the generators and manifesting generators do. So don't try to keep up with them, is the biggest message. Okay. And we're going on. And then we're going to talk about the final type, the most abstract type. I would love to know if there are any reflectors listening, just because I tend to work with a lot of them, and it's the most misunderstood type, in my opinion, considering it only makes up 1% to 2% of the population. And reflectors are different. And this illustration that I have here is meant to communicate the concept that reflectors, literally, as their name suggests, are mirrors for the rest of the world. Okay. And so we have some of this generator energy reflected. We have this manifestor energy, this red energy reflected, green energy, which was the projector, reflected. And these people are magical totems that truly, if you know one, if you have a relationship with one, they will show you exactly who you are. Okay. So while the other three types have a purpose that shines through them, reflectors have a purpose to mirror and amplify those purposes back to us. That's what there are so few of them. They are truly, truly precious beings. And my readings with reflectors are always very interesting because I have to be mindful of, are you just reflecting me back to myself? Or, how do we negotiate this? But if you are a reflector, please don't hesitate to reach out. There's so much I have to share with you. Here's the thing. Strategy and authority with reflector, just understand that it works completely differently than the other three types. And reflectors, you are the type that has the closest relationship with the cosmos. You are the most connected to the moon and constellations and stars in space and such things. And therefore, it is suggested that when you are living your life, when you're trying to figure out who you are, what to do, where to go, when to move, who to date, whatever, it's suggested that you actually practice a lunar authority, which is allowing an entire moon cycle to pass before you make a major decision. That is not meant to be a punishment. It is not meant to say that you're incapable of making decisions. I mean, do what you will. Some things need to be decided right away. But because reflectors, if you're looking at your chart right now and you see that your whole chart is white and you have absolutely nothing colored in and no definition, it gives you the ability to connect to the cosmos and allow the moon, the stars, etc., planets, show you over a 28-day cycle what is best for you. You get to experience everything in 28 days and then make the decision of what felt best. So you can see that my whole consciousness has kind of shifted as I've started to talk to reflectors. And I trust that if you're out there that you know what I'm talking about. Okay. the 28-day cycle. The cool thing, something to consider, whereas projectors, where we have this penetrative aura that really goes into the other and sees the other and guides the other, reflectors, y'all don't hold on too tightly to what it is you're reflecting. That energy of the other person you're reflecting seems to just pass through you. It's called a sampling aura because you don't take it personally. You don't cling to it. You know who you are, and you know that you're a mirror, and you just allow it to happen. So conditioning, where you might think reflectors would experience the most conditioning, reflecting everybody back all the time, it's actually projectors suffer the most from the deepest conditioning, and reflectors seem to just let it pass like wind through the trees. Okay. Again, big thing for me as a human design person is you do not have a defined sacral center. And so you have to get very serious about your rest and about your alone time. Something I'll throw to my reflector friends as well is to consider looking more into the wise woman archetype, just like in literature. And yeah, literature is what I'm getting, like fairy tales and stuff like that, to greater and better understand the reflector archetype. Yep. Communicating with others that you need more time than most to make these big decisions. Like if you have a boss, for instance, reflectors, who's putting pressure on you to make decisions quickly, it's advised that you begin to communicate, I actually need more time. I don't make snap decisions. I don't make spontaneous decisions, et cetera, et cetera. And what else have we got here? We're going to skip the not self today. And now I just want to give a quick summary of like, how do all of these work together? You got kind of a very brief sampling of what each type embodies, but how do these work together? And so manifestors, we started with them because they start the fire. They receive the urge, the divinity, and then it is their duty to inform the rest of us as to what it is they're receiving, no matter how banal or silly it seems to them. So in this drawing, you can see here's my manifestor friend informing, telling generators, these little yellow guys, generators, you're here to build the vision, but don't forget that you have the agency to say yes or no. So just because someone gives you an opportunity to build them a website and you're like, I don't really like web design, I actually really like graphic design, then you have to learn how to start practicing that agency, because that's how generators and manifesting generators can kind of fall victim to their type, is not knowing who they are and their authentic responses. So I just want to empower you with that. Yes or no. Does this light me up? Does this drain me? Big information. Projectors, my friends, we are here to guide the vision. You're not here to do the work yourself. You don't have a defined sacral, so you don't have that consistent access to that energy, but you do have some other kind of wisdom and knowledge that is necessary in the grand scheme of things. You just have to wait to be recognized to share it. And actually, you don't have to do anything, but I suggest that you wait to be recognized to share your unique information, self, and knowledge. Reflectors, you are a crucial part of the picture. Don't get it twisted just because there are so few. You're here to mirror the reality back to us with unmatched wisdom, which ultimately can inspire social change, human evolution, and you just always show us exactly where we are, and then often the projector will come in and offer guidance to where we are going to go. So those two types also have a special relationship. But this is how I see it all working together, and why it is our duty to learn our strategy and practice our strategy, because it does contribute to the big picture, and it does contribute to a more holistic, harmonized society. And is there anything else here? These are just some little up close to the drawing. You can see informing, generators respond, projectors guide, and reflectors show us and psychically teach us where we need to go. But that's the end of my visual.
That was so incredible.
Oh,
and
so cool.
I just kind of wanted to ask, did you paint these paintings?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they were so lovely. And I love the visual, because I could connect to the energy
Good.
as you were presenting it. And so we've got plenty of questions and also comments that I kind of wanted to share with
Oh,
you.
awesome.
I just didn't want to interrupt you because I was really loving everything you were saying, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I wanted everyone to be able to receive the wisdom that you were sharing with us here today. So we have a
Totally.
lot of projectors in the house. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised
Yeah, that
they
makes
got
sense.
attracted today, right?
Yes.
And so, but one of the things that, some comments are coming here. So we got Moonstruck. She's saying, I'm a projector and I've been getting the lesson when you were talking about, getting the rest and all that. She was
Mm.
kind of mentioning how she's been learning the lesson for this past year in regards to rest. So,
Oh, yeah.
that it's so beautiful that, that this was something that was brought up, and then at least giving confirmation for people. And there's some confirmations, people coming in here and saying, hey, this is big confirmation.
Good.
And then so also, C was asking, does it mean that projectors can see into manifestors even if their auras are closed?
That is a great question. And the answer is no. Like, no one is actually meant to see into manifestors. And so while projectors and generators are actually the dynamic duo, projectors are here mostly to guide generators. But manifestors, and my dad is a manifester. I suggest all of y'all go look up at your caregivers types. It will make a lot of sense about your childhood and all of that. But I have always, even as a psychic and as a medium, struggled to see in, and I believe that is for a good reason. But that is why, again, manifestors, if you're out there, I want to underscore that, if you want to alleviate that tension or anger or frustration that you might feel sometimes, specifically anger, frustration is a generator thing, but please begin to share with others what it is that you're doing, thinking, seeing, and feeling instead of just doing it. I hope that makes sense. There's something in the aura mechanics where when you practice informing, you open that closed aura, the manifestors open it like a little window into it, and then everybody's like, oh, okay, I see you. But if manifestors don't want to be seen or felt or experienced or known, like they don't have to be,
That's incredible. So there you go. See,
That was
you
a
don't have
good
to worry about,
question.
they will not know until you inform. And so that's incredible. And I have a friend who's a projector, and she told me, and I don't know if you can connect to this, and there's some people here that are, Brian is saying that he's been learning to wait for the invitation, and has for the past and it's been a 6+ months process, but it works. And he says it's a projector. And so diving into the projectors real quick, I have a friend who, she says that she struggled because she would, kind of like just share, like she would just come in and just basically share her, herself,
Oh, yeah.
and it would never go well. Like there would always be like this really strange interaction, or like things would kind of just go, into a negative space. To
Yep.
say the least. And
Yes,
so I'm just kind of curious, is that something that you've also experienced, like before you found out that you were a projector? Is that
totally.
yeah? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's this is the part that, like, sometimes I think people have a hard time grasping because or accepting, is that human design, especially, I can really speak to the projector experience, is that it is a very humbling one, right? Like, where perhaps you've been conditioned by who knows what to speak up or speak out, and like, who cares, like, accept me how I am. And you can do that, anyone can do that, and maybe you do have luck. But if you want to get into playing almost like a game with the aura mechanics, experiment with, what if I just continue to pursue who I am, what interests me, dive deep into my studies of that, and then wait until someone asks. Because if you don't wait, you will not be heard. It might go negative, but you won't be heard. No one, they didn't ask. Like, there's in the mechanics there, you no matter how precious or correct your wisdom is, they don't want it. But when they ask for it, the door is open and magic occurs. So it becomes a patience game. It becomes a trust. You have to trust that invitations are coming. And I mean, even being invited to speak on this live stream today is like an amazing example of a projector waiting for an invitation. I've been studying this for years. I've never done anything like that. I've never come out and spoken publicly about any of this, but Jikara extended an invitation to me, and I knew that this was the time. And now I'm connecting with all of you amazing people, you know? But if I had reached out to Jikara, let's say, and said, "Hi, my name is Sunny and I know about human design. Can I come be on your show?" It's hard to say because we are friends now, but it's likely that would be like, "Sunny, I don't know who you are or like what you're even talking about." So you see though, like there's some synergy here that's occurred very naturally that's allowed for this moment in time to occur.
Oh, that is so powerful and so beautiful, and I love it because it's kind of like really connecting to the energy of the universe and how the the energies weave with each other too. It's like understanding how our own energy or aura mechanics, like you were mentioning, work in the greater spectrum of the fabric of the universe,
Yes,
right? And so like
absolutely.
where do we fit and how are we dancing in there, so it's so beautiful. Now I wanted, so C had another question, but C, I know that you asked a question at the beginning, but I'm gonna leave that question for last because I do want to dive into this other question that's coming from Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but it's okay. We're gonna ask the question for you. It's not coming through. If you are coming from Facebook, just make sure that you go at the bottom of the thing there and then give permission to StreamYard. Otherwise, I won't know who you are. However, the question is really good. She says, "I am a generator. My
Mm,
6-year-old daughter is a projector. Are there
mm,
some general tools I can equip her
mm.
with to help her understand in her own power and help her stand in her own power and not throw her off course?" That's a very good question.
I love the question. I love human design as a parenting tool because I truly believe that that kind of question and conscious parenting that you are now exercising here, my friend, will change the course of human evolution. So thank you, as someone who is a projector child. My inner child thanks you for even asking that question. But there's, it would be definitely, what's the word? Situational or specific to like what your daughter is experiencing, you know what I mean? Like I would need more information to give you the most sound advice, but one thing I can tell you is that encouraging her from a young age to pursue interest in what however weird that interest is and to support whatever bizarre topic she might be interested in, just offering that support and understanding that projectors are here to go deep on different topics in order to one day guide others in unconventional ways. I think that it's very simple, but supporting whatever it is that she feels called to learn about. Because I think a lot of projector kids start to show their true colors or bizarre interests. I can just think of so many different kids right now. Somebody's obsessed with fossils and somebody's obsessed with submarines or whatever. Like nurturing that, truly seeing that as like the beginnings of someone who is going to be deep, thorough, and guide. Not just as like, oh, that's annoying, but like, no, that's showing me that's a precursor to how much of an impact my daughter is going to make on the world. And do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's really just creating a container for her to study, be, do whatever that is that she wants to study, be, and do. The other thing that's super important with projector kids is that thing I was talking about with the sacral. So you're a generator, which means that you're a sacral being and you have that beautiful energy. She gets to ride on that. She feels you're her battery pack. When the two of you are together, she's absorbing that sacral energy from you, but she's also amplifying it. And what that means is that she can, when you're gone, like let's say you go run an errand and she's at home, she's going to be likely dead, completely energetically, just like without the battery. It's like, okay, now I need rest. So also understanding that projector children are not designed to be consistent with their energy and that they ride on your energy and that they amplify your energy. So also if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I'm a little bit crazy today, your daughter is likely to be absorbing that and feeling it times 10. And then you're like, my daughter is being crazy too. So This is a two-pronged thing. Nurturing the weirdness, okay, just to be frank. And secondly, understanding your projector child will not be consistent in energy. And even this goes for generators as well. When generators go to sleep at night, think of like when you charge your phone and your battery, the phone battery charges, you just plug it in, it's at 40%, and then you wake up and it's at 100. That's like a generator when they sleep. Projector, when you sleep, you don't know what's going to happen. You might wake up with less energy than when you went to sleep with. So knowing that that's part of like that sacral, open sacral would be so helpful if parents understood that. Your kid's not being lazy. They just have different aura mechanics.
That's powerful. So hopefully this helps you, and I know it will. I mean, that was a powerful answer, and so let us know in the comments how that helped you. She says yes, it makes sense. Thank you. And she says, "Ooh, this is much good info. The inconsistency with energy is a bit helpful too. So that's good.
Yes.
So I'm so glad. And so there's some more questions coming through.
Sure.
I knew it was going to be a hot
I'm so glad.
Today.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Everyone's like, I want to know. So Hiku is asking, I am a manifesting generator, but I don't feel like a generator. I feel like more of a dreamer. What am I missing? That's a good question.
It is a good question. So here's the thing that I want to say about human design is that, and with my presentation today too, is it can feel a little bit reductionistic, like it's archetypal in a way, and it can feel like, oh, there's more nuance than this. And yes, my friend, there are likely other aspects in your chart that speak so much more to you being a dreamer or a visionary or an artist. It doesn't. Everybody can do everything. All that human design does is offer the most efficient ways to do it. So generators are dreamers. You are both. And it's again, don't get too caught up just in the archetype. Just try to take that piece that I said about what is lighting you up, what is making you dream, and follow that. And also, just like the fact that you are a sacral being, a manifesting generator, and you have that beautiful sacral energy to carry the rest of the non-sacral beings and to power yourself is something that I am feeling into. Like I need to tell you to tap into, like to own that, to own the vibrant energy that you possess. That's just kind of coming in a little psychically now, but I'm giving you that. You are both.
That's so powerful. And you know what? You're right. Like I am really big on dreaming myself. Like I think that as a generator, we've got to give ourselves permission to do that, because that's how we get to recognize, like when like, at least for me, what helped me is to see like, okay, give myself like options, like, ooh, how does this feel for me? That doesn't feel good. Or, ooh, how does this feel? And like the only way to do that is for you to like imagine or dream, right? Like where you would like to go, and then kind of like feel into that. So that's helped me. So
Totally.
hopefully he too that helps you too. And then of course there's so many more strategies that you can also receive just by getting a reading from Sunny, because she'll be able to dive into your chart and see like other things, because there's other things that are actually part of the chart that weren't necessarily discussed today, because like you saw, like y'all saw, it's a lot of information and we didn't want to like overwhelm the bejesus out of y'all. So we just kind of left it very, very general today. However, there are other things which, C was actually asking about this while you were doing the presentation. She was noticing the I think it was the gates and I guess the lines and and all that. And so she was kind of curious to know what was that. And so just share.
Totally. So I just want to say, when I first got into human design, like the gates were 100% the most interesting thing to me. I was they're so sexy. It's like, that is so wild. Like what's going on? And I can tell you just like kind of the just the long and the short of it is like those gates are oh man, it's hard because we get so deep so fast. But it's like they basically are activated by planetary positions, not unlike astrology, right? And like your astrological natal birth chart. And they all represent sort of like a kernel of truth, is what I would say. They're called the gene keys. If anybody out there is like really deep into human design already, gene keys, go look at that. But the gates they do they are activated within you, they are activated by others sometimes, but they will show you the innate truths that you carry within yourself and that deserve reflection. It's more layers, right? So we start with like human design type, and then if we were to continue, we would get into something called strategy. I'm sorry, we did strategy today. We would get into something called authority, which is where I suggest everyone, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm loving human design and now I'm obsessed with it. Now you need to go learn and look into your authority. Okay. You know your strategy, you know your type. Now you need to know your authority. And then the gates, I would say, like, that comes later. Even though I tried to start there, human design is designed to be understood or integrated into your consciousness in such a sequence that makes the most sense. And so you can go look into gates, you can Google gates, but I would suggest starting with your authority, with your strategy, with your aura mechanics, and experimenting with those things for months. Like, start living with it, like start playing. It's fun. Like, play around with it in your life. And then you will find yourself one day being like, I understand the gates. I'm ready for the gates, you know?
I love it. I am ready for the gates. And I love that because it makes sense that you start with, like, I guess that the bigger picture, right? Like the bigger concepts, and it kind of like goes down and it kind of funnels down into like the very detailed parts of the, you know, of your expression. Like, I guess,
right, because
know,
we are all different. That's the whole the linchpin of the system, is that we are all different. And so the more layers that you go into, you're getting even more and more and more and more unique, right? Until you're like, oh, this is authentically me. And I have many tools to do that. But because, like, I don't know, I can't speak for anyone who watched this presentation today, but sometimes like these very simple concepts that I've shared will really alter the worldview of a person. Like, will really be like, oh, I have been responding, but I'm supposed to be informing, or I have been waiting for the invitation, but I'm supposed to be informing, or whatever. And you begin to practice with that and watch how powerful just that one shift in your strategy is. And you see what I'm saying? These are big shifts in consciousness that kind of compile over time. And so allow yourself the natural unfolding of your human design knowledge. You don't have to learn everything right now, my friends. You can't, because it's just like not designed to be understood that way. But follow your intuition in what interests you the most, is what I would say.
I love that. And so C's asking, so what do manifestors normally do as a career? That's a really interesting question.
That is an interesting question, because it is a question that is, I totally understand why you would ask that. But one thing that I have to say about human design is that it's not often used as like a practical system for career, because the whole thing is that we're exploring our authentic self, and the idea that like a job or a career is ourselves, or those are the same, is our identity, is something that I think the system is trying to really separate in collective consciousness. So could I get practical with you about manifestors in career? Yes, but I want to be clear that like my understanding of the system is that like career is kind of a consequence of who we are, as opposed to who we are, if that makes sense. And here's for every type. Every type can do any career. You can do anything that you want. Everybody is able to do everything. But how you do it, how you go about getting that job, practicing that position, being that person, is where you consider your design type. Does this make sense? So I'm actually like hesitant to say that, because you can be anything that you want. See, you can do anything that you want, and really, as a manifestor, just start speaking it into existence. Like, and you're gonna see that happening. Manifestors are powerful. Like, what do you want to be as a career?
Exactly.
Go do
like,
it.
Just go do it, and then it'll start, you know, the universe will start moving towards. And you know, I love what you're saying about everyone can be anything, because I do there's someone that I really love. I've been on my spiritual path. I've followed other people, of course, and she is big on human design, and she's a projector, and she has a podcast, and she has, you know, she kind of lives in a way that you would think that it would be a generator, but she's not. She's a projector.
Interesting.
And so she has done certain, like, sometimes on her social media, she'll post her time resting, she'll be like, hey, I'm resting between this and that, like she gives herself that time, that priority to rest. And so, but she's still doing, doing some similar to what I'm doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so everyone is, and then of course, that's her path, and that's what she decided, because that's what she wanted. And I guess that to help the answer to that question too for C is that, it's all about, how can you fit your strategy right into whatever it is that you want to do. and
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
so, right, and so, and I mean, I've seen it happen, and this person is doing their thing, and she's happily doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So Moonstruck was asking a question about the caregivers birth time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the things that Sunny mentioned earlier is maybe you can use your intuition to get the birth time for your caregiver, especially if you don't have it. I'm gonna have to do that with my mom, because I don't think she
Yeah.
knows.
Ask
Um,
her. Sometimes you'll be surprised, though. Moonstruck. I don't know if your parents are still living, your caregivers are still living. If you have that privilege to contact them, but if you do, it's worth asking them what their intuitive feeling is on it. Like
mm,
my a lot of people don't know what time they were born. That's totally normal. So a place to start is kind of like, do you feel like it was AM or PM? Was it at the wee hours of the morning or right before the dawn? And so I will say that, like, with human design, because there are so many factors, like so many planets, I mean, gate activations, etc., that determine your type. Um, the times do make a difference, right? So one thing I would say is just once you do have a time that feels intuitively correct, be consistent with using that time. If that makes sense, like over the next few years, as you begin to understand yourself through the lens of your caregivers or whatever, just make sure that we use the same time each time.
mm.
And I don't know why I'm saying that, but it must be relevant.
Yes, that's incredible. I love that idea. And you know what? I'm gonna ask my mom, like, Mom, what time do you think you were born?
Yeah.
And I'll just like go down the numbers, and hopefully we'll get to that point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So we got a lot of people just saying I'm a generator, and some people are
Yay.
just like, some people saying, oh, I'm a manifesting generator. Everyone is just gonna,
Are there
shoot
any
us hello.
reflectors? Anybody out there?
Yeah, so let's see. Is anyone here a reflector? I'd love to know.
Yeah, just
Um, yeah,
I
so hopefully and if not, I guess they're that's how rare they are, right? Reflectors.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. They're very rare. And I just always want to make sure they're included, because like there is a severe lack of understanding and literature and resources for reflectors, and a big part of my practice is making sure they're included. So I just want to always, if anybody's out there, I got your back.
We haven't forgotten about you. Um,
No, never.
so so Moonstruck is asking something really interesting. So projectors
Mhm.
just need to rest. So, okay, if someone asks you to do something and you need to rest at that moment, then, as a projector, that will be a boundary for you, right?
Mhm.
That
Yep,
you would have to
it's
set.
up to you. It's something it can again, the experimenting with human design, give yourself like a long time to start doing it. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight, but um learning to the first thing that I really did with my human design experiment and being a projector was that I did learn that non-sacral piece, that piece of like I need to rest instead of go, um, has changed my life. And I say that to all non-sacral beings. Like if you can learn to reprogram so that you don't respond to what's happening around you, but that you respond from a place of authenticity, and that authentic place is saying to rest, your life will change for the better. It's not a punishment. And I think that's the thing is like cultural, societal, parental influence over so many years or over a lifetime. That's what we're doing, my friends. Everyone who's listening to this, human design is about deconditioning from that, finding the core of who you are and standing in that. And so for non-sacral beings, a great first step is to be like, I am not someone who can do that or whatever you're asking me to do, you know,
Mm.
game changer.
Yeah. And so, and then I feel like, so I hope this answers C's question as well, because she's
Mhm.
saying, she's also saying like, what can we do besides rest if we're not so defined in our sacral? And I feel
Oh,
like this may be an answer to your question as well, because it's like you said, like the programming of like go 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 all the time, and not honoring rest, and almost like seeing rest as a bad thing, as a
yes.
as being
Punishment.
lazy, or yeah.
Hmm.
And so it really is so important for us to remember that, like even for me as a generator, there's moments that,
Hmm.
I
Yes.
also need to take moments to be in my energy, and kind of realign myself, so I can just focus on really where I'm going. And the only way for me to do that is to take a moment to rest too.
Yep.
So
Everybody needs rest. And that's the thing is like there's this like sacral being and non-sacral being thing that I think is a large like energetic difference, but generators can be burnt out too. Generators can be
yeah,
exhausted too.
yeah,
Manifesting generators too. It's just I feel like when we talk about the aura mechanics, we're really just speaking again to the larger archetype of where to begin. But you can all see, even with your very intelligent questions today, how nuanced it gets very quickly.
yeah. Oh my gosh, like this is so incredible. And I mean, so I have, Moonstar is a projector. She's saying it does feel like a punishment to her. And she
Mm,
says that her mother is deceased, so she wouldn't be able
uh-huh.
to ask her
That's
the question of the
interesting.
time. So at that point, I guess she would have to. Would it help for her to connect with a medium and maybe get that information through a
It
medium?
it might, but I see like in this case, my advice is actually Moonstruck. Even just based on your handle there, Moonstruck, I'm like getting a pretty good like vision of your energy. I think you can trust yourself with that information. Listen, like um oh, let me see here. I'll just tell you this. If I were you, I would use my gut to estimate my mother's birth time, but I would keep it in the AM hours, is what I can tell you. Um,
Mm.
just it, yeah. Don't I again? You can talk to other human design practitioners or analysts or readers or whatever about this, and everybody kind of has a different take. I just want to be clear, like this is my take. I think we can use our intuition to estimate birth time so that we can participate in the experiment when we don't have that information. So don't get too hung up on it is what I want to tell you. And just know that when we don't know or have the data of our birth time, that nothing is certain and nothing is ever certain in life. So we might as well lean into that.
Yeah, that is so true. The unknown is basically what is guaranteed.
Right. So
We
like
can
let's
be
just
guaranteed that the unknown is present.
yeah, let's accept that. I'm a big fan of the unknown. Let's
Oh my gosh. So she says thank you, she'll do that. And so I just kind of wanted to tell everyone, so today, Sunny, she shared so much as a projector. We are going to honor her energy, and want to make sure
Aw.
that that she's not overwhelmed with all, because I know, y'all are used to me and my generator energy, right? Like I can
That
keep going.
generate you.
I can keep going and
I
going.
know
Like
you can.
I'm like an
Yes.
energizer bunny.
Yes.
Especially when I'm doing the lives. I can tell you, like, and I think I told you this when we talked. I can just keep going and going, and I'm like, okay, I have to stop myself. But I kind of wanted to just take a moment just to first, ask everyone to, support our beautiful goddess, queen, sister, human design, mediumship, psychic, intuitive, artist, and beyond. Like that's not just some of the things, right, that she does, and she's beyond that. Make sure that you go into her Instagram and support her. Please go in there, let her know that you love her as much as I do, because let me tell you, I do. And
Aw.
I just love your energy, and it's incredible. And yeah, it's just like I love having you on my feed, and I know
Aw.
that y'all are gonna love having her on your feed on Instagram. And if you're interested in booking a session with her, Maybe you're like, man, I really want to dive deep into this. I want to know more about myself, and I want Sunny to help me in this in this strategy building in my life, and how can I do this? And and she's really all about that embodiment, and like using that strategy, which I felt that immediately when we were having the conversation, initial conversation, to bring her over here. You can go into sunlightoracle.com, and she'll support you in that, And I know I mentioned that there would be a little bit of a reading today, but today we're gonna leave it at this. We want to honor the energy, and you know what? Why not? Like this is quite literally us, following the strategy and the
being human
the
design.
human
That's
design
it.
right here. Like we are living by example here today. And
Totally.
so I just kind of wanted to just mention that. And so please do go into her website, and and support her, or and let me know, do y'all want her back? Like, do y'all want to know more? Like, please let me know in the comments, because I know I'm dying to learn more, and or I'm living to learn more about human design. And we'll dive into other parts of the chart and all
Totally.
that stuff. Like today was kind of like more, today was more like general. We're kind of like
Mhm.
dipping our toes into it right now.
Yes.
So we're getting, yes, come back.
Yay. I have so
That's
much to
awesome.
tell you.
Yay! So
Cool.
we can definitely have her come, and we'll work behind the scenes to get that going. So
Yeah.
everyone is like, yes.
Yay. It was seriously, I just want to say thanks for inviting me. Thanks for the invitation as a projector. Seriously. Major I don't take invitations lightly. So I hope that you all got some sort of perspective shifting information today. And I just want to say thanks for participating. What lights me up is people asking me to guide them. So I really appreciate all of you, and especially Jikara for inviting me.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. I am so, so grateful for you. And, I just want to take a moment just to, just acknowledge the fact that you've been taking all of this time. I don't know how long you've been studying this, but
Mm.
it feels very profound coming from you.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I feel very, very lucky that you came to share this in
Oh.
on this channel. I feel very, very lucky to receive you, and not only that I received, that we all received the knowledge, but also your art. And
Oh.
that to me was so activating. And it just felt so beautiful to receive that as well from you. So thank you so much
Oh,
for sharing that
thanks.
part of you with us today. That was incredible.
Oh, it's been an honor. Thank you, Jikara, truly.
Yay. So okay, so everyone, I just kind of want to take a moment to thank y'all for being here. I want to also invite you to I do have an event coming up on this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I will be going, it's going to be a online event with, some of them. I think do you know all of them? I don't know. You know Hannah, do you know Maurice, and do you know
I
Dawn?
know Maurice and I know Don. Yep.
Okay, so you know Maurice and you know Don. So a lot of you who are coming here, y'all know about the three of these people that have been coming here, and I just kind of wanted to just invite y'all to go into Meetup. I'm posting the link here on the comments, and check it out. We're gonna have an online 2-hour online event where we will be really supporting you. There's been a lot of energies kind of moving around for us, and it's just been really overwhelming. And of course, we are on the month of mental health. So, and part of our
Mm.
mental health has to do with our spiritual health. So, we're going to be addressing the spiritual aspect of our mental health together on the 28th. And you're going to be receiving so much support. Hannah's going to be doing some sound healing. Dawn, of course, Crystal Queen. She's going to be
Mhm.
sharing some crystal healing and grounding for us. I will be doing some Akashic record clearings for the collective, and Maurice is going to be connecting you with one of your spirit guides. So you're going to go into a shamanic journeying with him. He's going to guide you into connecting to one of your guides. It's going to be incredible. And and we're kind of coming together to do this because we understand, all of us understand, the spiritual awakening process can be very, very difficult, and we want you to feel supported in your journey. So please consider coming into the event. And so that's all I'm going to say for now. please, come back. We're going to be here next week. We're going to have some really beautiful people coming in, and some surprises coming. And then I'll see you. For those who are going on Instagram, go onto my Instagram. And if you want to receive a reading this Monday, you'll be able to receive one. I'll be live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So anyway, I love y'all. Mwah. Namaste. Thank you.